the harsh truth is that in the beauty industry, animals are exploited in many more ways than they show you. You are actually putting dead animals on your face. Welcome back to my channel. So today is a video that is really close to my heart. Those of you guys that don't know, I am a really big advocate of animal rights and animal welfare, and those of you guys who have been following me for a while will know that I only use cruelty-free products here on my channel. So I am that person that checks the ingredients of everything. I do my research into brands and companies and all of that, and it's something that I feel very passionately about. And ever since I first started wearing makeup, which was like back in the day, like even from the very start, I've always been very on it in terms of making sure that there's no kind of animal exploitation involved in any of the products that I use. I also just wanted to say that I am going to be creating a petition on change.org about boycotting beauty companies that are testing on animals. So that will be up as soon as this video goes live. So check in the description box of this video to find a link to go ahead and support the petition. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk you through everything that you need to know about the way that animals are exposed in the beauty industry. I know that it's not exactly the cheeriest of subjects, but I feel like it's something that just does not get spoken about enough, and it's something that I cannot even articulate in words how passionately I feel about, and I want to do as much as I can to help you guys to know what you can do to help make sure that you are using clean beauty. Because you know what, it's just a couple of tweaks here and there that you kind of need to implement, and just a few more things that you would need to kind of look into and be aware of before you go ahead and buy a new product. And to be honest, in terms of the impact that those changes that you will be doing will make, it is priceless. It's just a couple of things that you can do, add into your routine, and you'll be making such a big difference to the whole beauty industry. Because the harsh truth is that in the beauty industry, animals are exploited in many more ways than they show you. And that is something that I want to bring to light to you guys today. I have done a lot of research over a good number of years, so I would say I'm pretty clued up in this topic. I'm pretty clued up, so you can trust what I have to say. So there are a lot of things that brands and companies tell you about their involvement with animals, and there's a lot of things that they keep relatively quiet as well, and they kind of mislead you with. And I'm gonna be completely honest, they are trying to go under your radar, but there are things that you can do to make sure that you don't let that get under your radar. I'm going to talk through some of the terms that you've probably heard before. The first one is cruelty-free. So naturally, when you see a brand and all over it's advertised cruelty-free, cruelty-free, we pride ourselves over being cruelty-free, we think that animals are so important and we would never mistreat them. By seeing that, you would think, okay, so I can be pretty sure that the brand and the products are all completely healthy and don't harm animals in any way. Sadly, that's not true. You have to do a lot more research. So when a brand says that they are cruelty-free, there's a particular thing that means, and it translates to. It doesn't mean that no animals are harmed in any activities that they do. That's not what it means. Cruelty-free only applies to a brand, not any particular like product specifically. It's just the brand as a whole, that company. And if they pride themselves as being cruelty-free, it means that they themselves do not test their products on animals. That's what it means. So what does animal testing mean? I'm not going to go into this too much because I don't want to go too graphic for you guys, but animal testing is essentially when they have animals that are kept in labs and they test their potential new beauty products or skincare products or whatever on these animals to test to see if they are safe for human use. So through doing that, they are essentially risking the lives of the animals to see if we can use a beauty product. Now, I don't know about you, but personally, I think that is the most messed up thing ever. The idea that we are going to sacrifice another being's life, regardless whether they're a human or not. It's another being who is completely innocent in the matter, has no involvement. And let's not forget that these animals aren't even able to give their own form of consent. So they're being held against their will for materialistic products to be tested upon them to see if they are safe for human use. The consequences to the animals could be a number of things. It's effectively a form of torture. So they could have complications like literally growing like multiple heads. Obviously there's the option of death, mental instability. Essentially their lives are being ruined for this purpose. So that is why personally I am completely opposed to animal testing, and I have been since I was a little kid. I've had petitions on it, but that's a whole nother story. So personally I don't use any brands that aren't cruelty-free. So that is what the term cruelty-free refers to, whether they conduct animal testing for their products or not. Okay, another thing you need to look out for. Let's say you've looked at a brand and they say, we are cruelty-free, we do not test our products on animals. They may then follow that sentence with, unless required by law. And that is a very, very, very popular phrase that you will see. If you do a little bit of digging, if you look into different brands and what they say about animal testing and whether they're cruelty-free, they say, we would never, ever, ever harm an animal unless it's required by law. By that, they mean that they sell their products in China. So in China, there is a law that any products to be sold over there have to have been tested on animals. It is the only country that has that law. So some brands will say we do test when required by law, which means that they sell their products in China. Or they'll say, but we are sold in China. But brands aren't obliged to sell in China. So if they truly believed in their cruelty-free status, and if it was something that was important to the ethos of the brand, then they would simply just not sell their products in China. And obviously a lot of brands don't do that because it is a very, 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 very big market. I mean, look at how massive China is. So many potential buyers are in China. So a lot of brands don't do that. Personally, I think that that is a very weak move, and I don't support those brands either. Essentially what that means is a brand can still say that they are cruelty-free, but be testing on animals to be able to sell in China. So you kind of need to read between the lines there. I'll give you an example. I'm not trying to shame brands or anything like that, but just to give you an idea that it is very common and that it happens, and you need to know what's going on instead of being unaware of these things. NARS, we all know NARS, right? A few years ago they actually changed their policy and decided to sell in China. So before that they were cruelty-free and didn't sell in China. I think it was maybe about 4 years ago, something like that. They changed their policy and decided that they didn't want to withhold their products from a very, very large market, being China. So they decided to sell their products in China. Completely up to them, their decision. And I do respect that's their decision, but I no longer support NARS, which is why you never see me talking about NARS. I never use any of their products, and if I do, it would be one of my old videos back in the day before they changed their policy. So it happens a lot. Okay, the third term that you will hear a lot is vegan. A lot of brands will say, oh, we've got loads of vegan products, or our brushes are vegan, this is a vegan mascara, whatever. A lot of people will be like, what the hell do you mean? Like, what do you mean vegan? Like, I'm not gonna eat it. And people joke about it. And you know what? The fact that brands need to specify if their products are vegan shows you that products that aren't vegan have something going on. They've got some kind of skeleton in their closet, which again means that you need to dig deeper and have a look at what that is. So when a product is vegan, it means that the ingredients in that product are completely clean. So they have no animal byproducts or anything in them. And if you see that, it is pretty much the cleanest of the clean when it comes to animal exploitation in the beauty industry. If a brand says that they are cruelty-free, they do not sell in China, and the product is vegan, there is nothing more that you need to look into. You're good to go, and that product is completely clean. There are products which don't necessarily lead to the harming of animals, which are ones that are vegetarian and not vegan. So for example, a product wouldn't be vegan if it had beeswax in it. But animal byproducts aren't necessarily harming the animals, so it depends what product it is, and again, that will just involve you needing to do your own personal research and decide where your moral line is, if you are okay with that ingredient being in there or if you're not. So personally, I don't use only vegan makeup, I use vegan or vegetarian makeup. That's my personal choice, but it's for you to do your research and decide on yourself. Okay, however, there's another little thing here. So if a brand says we are cruelty-free, tick, we don't sell in China, tick, right. Now the brand seems clean. They're not necessarily. Now you need to look at the specific product that you're interested in. So let's say it is an eyeshadow palette. You need to look at the ingredients of that eyeshadow palette. It's gonna sound a bit tedious, but I promise the more you do it, the easier this becomes and the quicker you are at it, and the easier you're able to kind of identify what things are fine for you to use and what aren't. I've been doing this for years, and now it's very, very quick, and it just is part of my nature, and it's not something that I'm like, oh, it's gonna take me forever. It's like I can do this when I'm shopping on a shop floor, and I see something, I can be like, all right, just give me a second. I just go on my phone, do a little bit of research, and like within a couple minutes I know my answer. So a lot of products have ingredients which aren't even just animal byproducts, but they are actual animals in the makeup, like actual bugs, actual contents from an animal in the makeup. And I'm sorry, I don't want to make this too graphic or anything like that, but it's actually what it is. There's no way to kind of sugarcoat it or go around it. It's exactly what is involved. So an example of an ingredient which you will see quite commonly is carmine, and it just says carmine, and you'll think, all right, carmine, probably some chemical or something. But when you Google what is carmine, it tells you carmine is actually a very, very rich kind of reddish dye, and it's used for pigment. So it's often in eyeshadows and lip products to give a rich red pigment, and that actually comes from crushed bugs. So it's actually crushed bugs that you're putting on your lips, on your eyes, and they don't tell you that. So unless you know what carmine is, and unless you scrutinize the ingredients, you wouldn't know that you are actually putting like dead animals on your face. Sorry to sound harsh, but it's true, and it's very easy to look the other way, but I think that that is the beginning of the end, and if we all adopted that mentality, then there would be no change in the world, which is why I don't believe in that. I think ignorance is bliss, but it's not the kind of bliss that we should aspire to. There are a few other ingredients as well. It's not just carmine, but that is one that you will kind of come across quite often. Now, the important bit. I'm going to talk you through all the ways that you can make sure that you are aware of these things, and a few little tips that I've kind of learned along the way, which make it a lot easier to make sure you're using clean beauty. When you're starting with a product, let's say I want to buy the Anastasia Beverly Hills liquid lipstick. That's the product I'm looking for. First thing I would do is literally go straight into Google and search, does Anastasia Beverly Hills test on animals? Majority of brands, for that question, you'll be able to get quite a quick answer. A lot of brands openly answer that question on their frequently asked questions on their website and things like that. And there are a lot of organizations like PETA, P-E-T-A. If you don't know, they are an animal welfare organization, and often they say like, oh, this brand is PETA approved, which means that they've done their background checking, and if something is PETA approved, they've done the work for you, you're good to go. So that is another website that you can search on, and you can basically just search the brand that you're looking for, and it will tell you any information they have. They obviously don't have every brand, so sometimes you've got to do a bit of digging yourself, but it's a good place to start. But even without that, if you just go straight into Google, do a little bit of searching, make a bit of an effort, I can guarantee that 9 times out of 10 you will get your answer within about 2 minutes, if even that. It's really, really quick. It is sometimes difficult to make sure that you're looking for a reliable reliable source, but again, trial and error, doing a bit of research will go a long way, and you'll know what sites you can kind of go to in the future that will be reliable and which ones won't be. The next thing you want to do is search into Google, does Anastasia Beverly Hills sell in China? That will be slightly harder to get your answer for, but you will get there nonetheless. You just need to do a little bit of digging. If you don't find your answer, it's normally not good. I'll give you an example. When Huda Beauty first came about, I couldn't find an answer as to whether she sold in China. Couldn't find an answer anywhere. So I went onto the official Huda Beauty website, and because she is an international brand, she kind of ships into loads of different places. I chose like a random product and I went to check out, and I went to see in the country option if China was an option, and China was an option. So then I got my answer. Even though she never has directly addressed it, I got my answer through going on her website, and I saw that she does sell her products in China, so therefore I don't use Huda Beauty. That is another way. If you can't find it point blank written to you, you can kind of go on the website and see if you can find your answer. So now the next step is you search for the particular product. So I would go on Anastasia Beverly Hills official website, search in the specific shade. The shade is important. The shade of the liquid lipstick, because ingredients do vary based on the shades. And I will look at the ingredients. Not every website has the full list of ingredients. For example, if you go on like Beauty Bay or Feel Unique, you won't necessarily always have the full ingredients list. So sometimes it's easier just to go to the official website and you'll get your answer there. So check the ingredients, and now this one comes a lot easier with time and with practice. You will begin to kind of recognize what ingredient names will flag up like a red flag in your head, and which ones you're like, okay, that's fine. So I know that it's difficult with ingredients because a lot of the time the things that are put into products, we don't really know what they are exactly. And there's a whole issue with that in itself, but let's not get into that. So a lot of the time chemicals have very, very similar names. So they have similar structures to the words, so they will sound like a chemical, right? You guys know how like something sounds like medicinal, or something sounds like it's got a chemical base to it. So if it's like something hydrochloride, you know that, okay, that's a chemical. So they are normally fine. So the things that you need to look for are ones that don't sound like chemicals but have a name that you've not heard of. So for example, one that is common but fine, by the way, but I would typically look at and be like, oh, I need to research it if I've never seen it before, is mica, M-I-C-A. But when you look it up, you can see that I'm pretty sure it's like clay, or it's some kind of like rock based thing. It's natural, basically. It's natural and there's no animal exploitation involved in it. It's fine. So that's an example of one that I would automatically be like, oh, I feel like I need to look for. So when it's like a name that doesn't sound like a chemical, just Google what is and then type it in. You will find that majority of the time a lot of products are mainly chemical based. It will just be one or two that you'll feel like you need to Google search. So don't think you're going to be sat there for like hours Googling every single ingredient, because it doesn't get like that. I can do my own research for a product that I want, and I can get it all done really, really quickly, because as I said, the longer you've been doing it, the quicker and quicker it will be, because you know the sites to go for, you know what brands are normally fine, you know what names you need to kind of research. You tend to get an idea of what people use for what. So don't stress about it. I know it sounds quite overwhelming hearing it all at once, but it is very, very, very manageable. And to be honest, like, these are really, really quick steps, and look at the difference that you'd be making. It's not that much of a compromise on our half to do for the greater good. And there is a quote that I came across the other day, and I feel like it is relevant for this. I feel like it's relevant for loads of things, but it is definitely applicable for this. And it is, if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. So by ignoring things like this, you're becoming part of the problem. By kind of educating yourself on this kind of topic and doing the research that you need to, and then tailoring your buying habits accordingly, you are being part of the solution. And you know what? Every little helps. Every person that makes this form of activism, because this does count as activism, you make that one decision and think about how much of an effect you would be having. Imagine if every single one of us decided to just make this one sacrifice. Imagine how much we could collectively change the beauty industry. But people have the mentality that one person can't make a change, but that's not true. Think about how many people in history have been one person, they've been themselves, and they've made such a groundbreaking change for the future of society, of life, of everything that they've impacted. Rosa Parks, Mahatma Gandhi, Martin Luther King. There are so many people that were able to make a difference. So what I'm just trying to say is, don't be swayed by that principle of, oh, I'm just one person, I can't make a difference. Because you can. You just need to educate yourself on it and make these kind of sacrifices. And if we all did it, we could collectively make such a positive impact on the industry. So anyway, I'm gonna stop here. I know that is a lot of information to take in. If you do have any follow-up questions, please do drop me a message or comment down below. I will definitely be checking, and I will try and stay on top of this as much as possible. Please spread the word. Tell as many people as you can that you know use beauty in any way. This is beauty, skincare, everything, any kind of product this is relevant for. So let's all do our bit and try to help as much as possible. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope that you watched to the end, and if you guys are still here, thank you so much, because this is something that's very close to my heart, and I really appreciate you taking the time to listen to what I have to say on it. But thank you so much. I really hope that you gained something from this video and tried to implement one or two of the things that I mentioned. I really hope that you are all doing well and looking after yourselves and your families during this time. I love you all so much. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all next time. Mwah. Bye guys.